Hey, what's up, world, and welcome to episode 149 of the Take One Podcast. I am your host, August C. Jones, and we are almost there. Next episode is 150, and I kind of maybe have a announcement to go along with that. So stay tuned for later on in the show. But thank you guys for listening. Thank ahead of time. But we got a few things to talk about. One of them, of course, as you guys know, the big talk around the cooler and all that stuff in social media is the Snyder Cut. That it's no longer speculation. It's no longer rumors or just, would it be cool, type of talk. It's like it's actually happening. Budget has been put to it and everything else, but we're going to get into that shortly. As well as I'm going to talk about the second trailer to Tenet, a movie that is still up in the wind, whether or not it's going to stay or will it be forced to move. And then there's everything that's new to rent on the stream, as well as the movies that came out 20 years ago this week. And then I'm going to do a couple show reviews on this podcast. So without further ado, let's jump right into the first thing, which is the Snyder Cut is a go. So came out last week that basically it is officially out there that Warner Brothers is putting up money to get the Snyder Cut done. Now, there's no true details on whether, actors are going to be called in again, because there's a lot of stuff that goes along with that. But I'm going to get into that. But basically the whole gist of it is that it was greenlit, that it is going to be on HBO Max. In what capacity, we don't know. If it's going to be a 4 to 6 part, like mini series, limited series, or is it going to be put out as a movie? Because as it stands, this movie is nearly 4 hours long. So either way, I would be okay with whatever capacity they want to put it on the streaming service, and I definitely would get I would at least get it for the time frame that they have it on there. But I think if it's 4 hours, let's say roughly like at the most 4 hours, I think it will probably serve better as a limited series. They don't have to cut it down to 30 minutes or whatever. I mean, we've already basically seen this movie. It's just, it had a lot of changes, and Zack Snyder came out and said that, we've only seen like 1/4 of what he shot. So basically, there is a lot more to this movie that we haven't seen. We've seen he's been giving out stills and stuff like that throughout the years ever since it was put out, but we still haven't seen all of his creation. So I feel like it would be better served as a limited series, like a 4-part limited series and all that stuff. That way, it would probably be better, because even though I myself and probably a lot of other people wouldn't care about sitting down watching a 3.5 to 4 hour movie, especially something that we've been wanting to see for a while now. It's kind of like, I don't know, like it's like, yeah, if they broke it into 2 parts, I could see that. But I don't know. I think that's why I said it would be better served as a limited series, as a mini series, where you break it into like 3 to 4 parts and just give it out that way. Not give it all out at one time. I feel like they should do a weekly thing for like a whole month or something like that. Just put it out every like Friday, the Snyder Cut, episode 1 and all that stuff. They did the same thing. Well, Quentin Tarantino did the same thing for the Hateful Eight when it got put on Netflix. So I feel like if they did that for this movie, then it will probably be just as good. And as far as, like I said, we don't know yet if Henry Cavill or Gal Gadot or Ben Affleck even are going to come back in their roles to maybe have like even like a few reshoots, or just come back and redo things on camera. We do know that they may end up coming back. It's more likely they may end up coming back, maybe re-recording some dialogue or adding some new dialogue or something like that to the film, which more than likely may end up having them back on the on-screen role, donning the whole costumes and stuff like that. But as far as that, it's not entirely sure. It's not entirely sure, because that's a whole nother monster. 20 to 30 million that's being put into it to make this a dream come true. most say that it even isn't enough. That they're gonna need at least 50 million to complete the, even just if you don't bring Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, anybody back on set, you're gonna need at the minimum 50 million to complete this. That is gonna have to be, between 50 to maybe 80 million to actually get it looking crazy good. And bringing back the characters, or bringing back the actors, may add a little bit more money, may end up putting maybe 100 mil more to the film that they probably didn't really think about wanting to do when they initially greenlit it. Like, is this really a endeavor that we want to put this much money in? So that's the question that comes out. But either way, I feel like if they're gonna do it right, because we don't want, well, I can speak for myself. I really don't want to see a Justice League movie. A movie that I have been really curious on seeing, because I did enjoy Justice League, the theatrical version that we got from, that we got already. But I felt like it could have been way better. And I'm very, very, very curious on seeing what Zack Snyder's initial vision was and what it is going to be. But I don't want to see that vision with the visual effects that you will see on Flash or Arrow on the CW. Something that you will see on network TV that only has a certain standard of CG and, visual effects that they can do, because they're working with a smaller budget. I don't want to see a better Justice League movie that possibly could be better than the one that we got, with lower effects that look way cheaper than the one that we actually got. And the one that we actually got, some of the effects, were kind of off. Could have been done better and all that stuff. So I don't want to see a Justice League movie that could possibly be better and look better visually with better visual effects. Not really given all the love and attention that it needs to be given, because that's what got us in this mess in the first place. So when it comes down to it, I'm very excited for this, but I really want them to do it right. I honestly think if they don't need, Henry Cavill or Ben Affleck coming in, or anybody from the cast coming in to do reshoots or anything like that, say at the most, maybe just lines of dialogue said or whatever, that's cool. But if they don't need that, and what they work with is good enough, and they can put great visual effects to it, a great sound design to it, great score, and just make it do it all out and make it just incredible, I'm down with it. But if they are going to do the bare minimum or not give it as much love, like I said, I don't know, like I'll be less enthused on it coming out, but very curious regardless. But I am excited. I'm not one of those people that was just hashtag Snyder cut all the time. It was just, but I was very curious on what could have been had the circumstances not arise when it did, and the decisions that were made to put it out as early as it wasn't made, and they could have took a little bit more time. But when it comes down to it, this is something that everybody is waiting for. So hopefully they do it right. That's all I hope for. Hopefully that they do it right. And so with that said, let's go ahead and jump right into the next topic, which is the second trailer to Tenet, a movie that has been basically just really in the media eye because of everything that's going on. It's one of the first movies that will hopefully be the start of things going back to normalcy as far as the movie going experience. It still hasn't moved. It has kept its release date, July 17th, and it's one of those movies that really haven't been lifted. And I like Christopher Nolan, as well as everybody behind it, is really just hoping that things, become better around that time and people can go back to the movies. And I basically already gave my, opinion on that, even if it does keep it, I feel like it should move. Because let's say things get back to normal, let's say around mid-June or close to the end of June, you're still going to have people hesitant. You will want to put a movie out like this, especially if this movie is incredible. Like, it looks crazy. I'm gonna get into the trailer a little bit, but you know, you want this movie to basically make as much money as it can, and it can't make that much money if people are still hesitant on going back to the movie theaters. With that being said, this trailer looks awesome. This trailer looks awesome, and it proves my point. When it comes down to it, like, Christopher Nolan has some stunningly beautiful looking films. Like, the cinematography that he does in his films are just incredible. And you can tell that this movie has incredible cinematography, just how it looks. The actors that he's pulled together in this looked incredible. Like, it just, I don't know, like everything just came off incredible. And then one thing that just kind of bothered me about this movie was that I didn't know what the fuck was it about. You know, you see the first trailer and it's like, it looks normal, but then there's some weird things that's happening. So it's like, what is happening? You see a car, it's like basically like it's been flipped over and then the crash, and then it comes back to regular, you know, all the dents become, you know, flat surfaces, and it's like, what the hell is going on? And things is like reversed, so it's like, whatever. And this trailer does kind of, I ain't gonna say answers it, but it gives more enlightenment on like what this movie is really about. I guess Tenet, the word, I don't know what, I mean, that's not really explained. More than likely, they're gonna keep that for when when we actually see the movie. But it has something to do with time reversal. You know, you see the main character, he basically tries to shoot a gun, but instead of actually shooting out a bullet, the shell pops back into the gun, as well as the bullet itself forms back together. And the woman behind him telling him that, like, he's not shooting the gun, he's catching the bullet. And then you see a lot of other scenes where stuff is like reversed and all that stuff, and they even talk about it. Like Robert Pattinson's character even just trying to find out like what the hell he's talking about. And he says time travel, but then he's told no, that it's like time reversal. And I'm like, that's kind of a cool like concept, but I don't know the context in which it plays a role. Like, it's not really explained well in the trailer, and it's like, I can't really tell right now whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's bugging the hell out of me because it's like, I got a little bit more information, so I'm a little bit off edge about just what the movie is about. But at the same time, it's still questions like, Tenet, what does it mean? You know, as like connection to the movie. Why does it mean, you know, can it open up doors? You know, what doors does it open? And how can they do the time reversal thing? Like, what? Like, it's a lot of questions in the air. But it does kind of somewhat eases my mind and answers that question. But I don't know, like, and it shows a lot of it being used. And I'm just like, I don't know. But I mean, I did like the trailer. It shows a little bit more scenes than what we've seen in the first trailer. And Robert Pattinson, even in the little scene at the end, comes across likable. Like when he's asked that, you know, like, so you're going to crash a plane or whatever. He said, nah, I'm not going to do it from the sky. Don't be dramatic. And, you know, it just like, just how he came across just in that little bit of the scene, I kind of like his character. And his character looks like he's more of the comic relief in this movie. So I really want to see that. But as far as the trailer goes, it's actually a pretty good trailer. I really did like it. I'm just very curious and intrigued on what the movie is about and how the movie is going to be. And if they're going to keep their release date. If things is looking up, more than likely. But we'll see. Now, real quick, let me go ahead and let you guys know what is new to rent on the stream, as well as the movies that are 20 years old this week. So, for digital, it's just one movie, The Hunt. I would say just definitely go check it out. It's not the best movie, but it is very entertaining. And as far as like DVD, Blu-ray, physical release, you have The Invisible Man, which I definitely recommend you guys check out. If you have not seen it, you're gonna like it. You're gonna like it, especially like movies like that. And movies that are turning 20 years old this week: Shanghai Noon, as well as Mission Impossible 2. So there you go, this day in history. Now, with that out the way, let's go ahead and jump into some reviews. So, today I'm going to be reviewing some show reviews. I'm trying to build up my show review catalog on my channel. I haven't really put out that many. Last week I put out the Tiger King review, so if you haven't checked out my thoughts on that, go ahead and check it out. And so today I'm going to be reviewing The Hollow Season 1 that's on Netflix, as well as The Big Show Season 1 that is also on Netflix. So yeah, you know, I had a lot of time out, and really Netflix is the only thing that the main thing that I really been watching. But as far as it goes, The Hollow Season 1 is actually a really good animated show. Like, I was kind of surprised. I didn't have too many expectations of it, because when I started watching it was like I didn't know what the hell this was, but you know, whatever. But it's about some kids who wake up with no memory inside of a room, and once out they have no knowledge of where they are, and from that they try to find a way out of their current situation and go on an adventure to find answers and a way home. But that's not without its dangerous and life-threatening situations on the quest to get home. And yeah, I mean, it starts off really good. The animation is good. It's not the best. You could tell that, like, as far as certain, you know, animations, that it is kind of like cheaperly made. But I really did like it. It really did fit, and it didn't bother me. The humor was hit or miss, and it had a lot of good entertainment value that I really did appreciate. And I enjoyed the action and fight scenes. They were done well in this season, and actually it was one of the best parts of the show for me. The characters I liked because they were different but also meshed together well because of the chemistry, and it just worked for it. And I also like the characters that they came across in the different places that they adventured to, whether friend or foe. They all came across really entertaining, and I did like those aspects of those meetings that they did have with them. Now, the mystery aspect was handled good. As you go along in the adventure, the mystery slowly reveals itself, but also to a fault, because a lot of questions don't get answered because of the reveal, which the mystery is rendered useless once you find out what it's all about. And as to the ending, it was unexpected, but I am still kind of 50-50 on it, because I feel like it could have been different with a better reveal that made the mystery part feel more needed with this resolution and not just a waste of time. But on the other hand, the show is well worth it. It is entertaining to watch. It does have some horror elements, but it is not too much for the demographic that it goes after, because it has a lot, and I mean a lot of light and funny parts to it that make those horror elements not so scary. And as far as they go, it is a hit. Definitely check it out. If it's a show that you might want to put on for your kids and you feel like they can handle it, like I said, it's not too scary. It's not too scary. But if you look at it and you think that it might be too scary, whatever. But I don't think it is. I think it is well worth the watch. I just feel like the whole reveal could have been better, because when you follow along the mystery, it's like you get really into it. But the ending just kind of like, you know, just throws everything out the window. And I just didn't like that. But if you can, definitely check it out. So now with this last show review, it is The Big Show. I am a big wrestling fan, so definitely you knew I had to check this out. And what are my thoughts? Yeah, so it is really nothing spectacular. It is your just run-of-the-mill generic comedies. It's very safe in its delivery, but it is effective in some ways. The humor was decent, and it had a handful of laugh-out-loud moments that I did like. The Big Show is a complete natural and feels comfortable in his role and does a really good job. This is a job that was certainly meant for The Big Show, and it asks the questions like, why wasn't it done before? And this show truly shows how much charisma The Big Show has, and that he has more to offer than just his work in the WWE. But oddly enough, The Big Show doesn't have a legitimate name in this series. Like, everyone calls him Big Show or just Show for short. Even by his wife, which is a person that you would think would call him by his real name. And I thought that was just an odd choice to have, but for the majority of the show, he's called Dad by his children. So after a while, it doesn't stand out too much, but in the sense of things, it still kind of stands out, just kind of in a small way. As far as Jaleel White, who we all know as, Steve Urkel, he's at the very most just okay. But absolutely not one of the best things of this show. But he really does fit along with the generic aspect of the show. And like just going back to the humor, they have this kind of like running joke thing with one of Big Show's daughters. She has this classmate that goes to her school, and his name is Taylor Swift. And they kind of like, every time his name is mentioned, they always thinking that it's the real Taylor Swift when it's just him. And it's a joke that just kind of like they ran into the ground that wasn't funny to begin with, and they just kept running through the ground all throughout the season. And I was just like, it was just kind of cringy, like, stay away from that, just leave it. It was unnatural. It really was. But as far as some good parts, one of the best episodes of the season was when his daughter Lola is going on a date, and her date is infatuated with the Big Show because he's a huge wrestling fan. So they kind of have this connection. So instead of her and her date really just having a date one-on-one, he can't get over just like being starstruck by her father. And so they kind of like form this relationship where, they hang out together. And so she has to try and like break them up. Like, I felt like that was actually a really good episode, and I did like it. It was more entertaining than the other episodes. But one of the other better episodes of this season that I feel like if you are a wrestling fan and you watch this and you hate the show, this one would be a show that you probably may least hate. It's the show where Big Show and his wife go on the cruise to spend some time with each other. And there are special guest appearances from Rikishi, Mick Foley, and Mark Henry, which I felt like that was, if we saw more of that throughout the season, even though it was like, you don't want to rely too much on that gimmick or, just having like special guest familiar stuff. You kind of want to base it solely on what the show has and just the Big Show himself. That was just one of the better shows. I felt like they should have had basically guest appearances all throughout the show of just different wrestlers, just even in a small cameo. Like, they should have just had that. It would have made certain episodes a little bit better. And I don't think that this show is going to be a huge hit, but it is entertaining nonetheless in some aspects. And we'll probably see maybe 1 or 2 more seasons. I can't see it being like 7 seasons long or anything like that, because this show just truly has nothing creative to offer, and it doesn't offer anything new to fans to be hyped about it. It plays it too safe in every single level, and it doesn't really push any type of boundaries to make it more interesting with the storylines. As far as this show goes, it is miss. I feel like if you are a true wrestling fan, you may not end up liking this. You're more than likely not going to like this. I definitely am going to check out if they do have a second season for it. I haven't checked to see if it's been renewed for a second season, but if it is, I will check it out to see if the second season is better. But this is just, it wasn't anything special. It was just generic comedy, and it just was not done well. Hopefully they push some boundaries in the next season and make it a little bit more interesting. And maybe we can see some more cameos from maybe just wrestling stars or just regular stars than themselves. And I definitely would love to see that. And just more of the Big Show's acting. But in any case, that will be the end of the show. But before I completely just end off this show, I wanted to just make a quick announcement regarding my channel and stuff. So, basically, I'm going to be putting the Take One podcast on hiatus. I haven't came with a concrete, decision, but that's just really like 90% of the decision, It's just, I don't know, it's just a lot of things that's mentally that I need to get straight. But I am going to be still putting out content and all that stuff. But one thing I wanted to try for the 150 episode of the Take One podcast next week is do an on-camera episode for the review, and it's still gonna have a MP3 version as well as like on camera. But I just kind of wanted to try something different. I feel like a lot of times people really don't want to listen audible. They want to like actually see something. So I want to try it out. Depending on how I feel next week, however it goes, I'm not saying that I'm going to actually do it. I just want to try it out. If it doesn't work out for me, I probably might just do an audio and then just, hiatus until I can, kind of like feel better with doing it. And then maybe from that point on, I may end up doing on camera stuff, but it's all just in the thought process. I will have my decision by the end of this week, but that's just something that I wanted to do. As far as the podcast, I really do like doing it. I want to get more of a game plan because I do want to get my voice more out there. I do want to get more subs. I do want to get more likes. I do want to do that. Get more views. That's what anybody that's on YouTube wants to do that. And I want to experiment more with that. So I'm going to be trying various things to try and get more views. So hopefully I can get more eyes on my channel. And that way I can, start doing more stuff that maybe people like. As far as the Take One podcast, I don't know. Like, if I do put it on hiatus, I'm still going to be doing the reviewers cast as well as the countdown, at least for now. But as of right now, I want to focus more on like a lot of stuff because I have a lot of stuff balanced in my head that I really want to do for my channel. And it's just a lot of things. But that's really just my announcement. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So with that said, if you guys like what you heard and you want to get more content from this channel, go ahead and give it a thumbs up as well as subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell. That way you'll be notified for everything that drops up on my channel. And when you hit that notification bell, make sure you hit all. That way you'll be alerted to all the things that drop up on my channel. And yeah, I will catch you guys next week, hopefully on camera, so you guys can see my beautiful face. Until then, peace out.